Well, with absolutely no help from the New England Patriots, the Colts somehow managed to stay alive in their potential playoff race or push or whatever. And lucky for me, the Burrows, the Bengals saved our season because now I can talk about how much I like Joe Burrow. But one of our paths has been cut off. Chargers absolutely demolished the Patriots. They gave us absolutely zero hope. But luckily, the Bengals, in an overtime thriller, facing elimination as well, they somehow get it done after a missed field goal from their kicker and numerous, and I mean absolutely numerous, stupid calls from their coach. And Bengals fans, I understand you now. Zach Taylor 100% needs to be fired. That might have been the worst game calling I've ever seen. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I wanted to talk about both games, just to be fair, to, dog on the Patriots for not helping us. And I won't be on this game long, obviously, because this game kind of sucked. But it is important to our playoff push, so I do got to talk about it. But the Chargers, like I said, absolutely demolished the Patriots 40-7. They put up a 40 burger on them. Only time the Patriots scored was on a really good throw from Drake May, who honestly is going to be one of the best QBs in the league. I really liked watching Drake May over the season. Watched him back in the Colts game where we won a walk-off. Which, speaking of walk-off, there is something I gotta mention. You've probably seen it. Anthony Richardson is out for the game. At first, they were talking about he was sore, which, of course, is going to make him look terrible because I saw a lot of people talk about how, he's sitting out when he's sore. Oh, he's so weak. Well, first of all, he wasn't sore. He is having back spasms. And for some reason, Steichen never mentioned that. So I'm pretty mad about him about that. I've been mad about him the whole season, which is unfortunate. As I've said numerous times, he looked like such a great coach last year. I don't know where it went. But he comes out and says it's back spasms. People are still calling Richardson weak. And I've been over this before, especially with tap-out gate. He's not weak. He loves the game of football. He wants to be he wants to do as well as possible. Every play he makes a mistake, he gets it into his head. He tries to not do it again. And I know he's not good. He's not that good right now. But we need to develop him. And of course, this is not going to help his case when the Colts organization is coming out and saying, he's just sore, and then just ruling him out for the game, even though he probably wants to play. Even if we were eliminated, I still think he should have played. He needs to, play without practice. He needs to play while he's semi-injured. And I understand the Colts organization has had a bad rap with injuries. Everything with Andrew Luck. The Peyton Manning thing, where he got his neck broken or something, had to stay out the whole year, and then we just drafted his replacement. We've not really done well with injuries, but he has to learn that he needs to play with a slight injury sometimes. He needs to play with slight hurt. And I understand, it's back spasms, it's not soreness. But it's disappointing all around. We're going to have to watch Joe Flacco play again. And from the last 2 times we've seen him, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose to the Giants. So that kind of hinges all on that. But back to this. Chargers clinch a playoff spot. Absolute demolition, 40-7, like I said. Disappointing game from the Patriots. I didn't expect them to win, but I expected them to at least play them close. We saw what happened against the Bills, last week. Herbert had a pretty good game. 26 for 38, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he broke some, most passing yards in the first 5 seasons. He surpassed Peyton Manning in something. So, good for Herbert. Heineke came in, also threw some passes. The other touchdowns scored were one on the rush, J.K. Dobbins. McConkey scored 2 of them. Davis scored 1 of them. Hey, my last name. I don't know where the other touchdowns came from. I think... Oh, there were 4 field goals. Yeah, there were 4 field goals by Dicker, the kicker, who, last week, I didn't talk about it, but, had the first fair catch free kick in, 40-something years. So, congratulations to him. But, absolute demolition from the Chargers. Just going on to Drake May. Jacoby Brissett had to come in for a drive because they were worried he was concussed. Drake May was concussed. Luckily, he wasn't. But May, he threw for 12 for 22 for only 117 yards, but a touchdown. Of course, none on the ground. Bad rushing day for them. And Douglas caught their only receiving touchdown on the day. Their kicker only kicked an extra point. Of course, for total team stats, the Chargers basically own everything. In yards, passing yards, rushing yards, yards per play. First down, 29 for 11 is terrible. Especially 2 for 10 on third down. That's going to lose you games. Along with going 0-3 on fourth down. That's also going to lose you games. So, disappointing. Didn't expect them to win. But, you always got to hope for something to happen. This is why I think it would have been better if the Chargers lost, because then they'd only have to lose one of the two. And since the Chargers won, they had to only win one of the two, and they already got that one here, and they clinched a playoff spot. So, congratulations to the Chargers. They definitely deserved it way more than the Colts, or the Broncos, or the Bengals, or the Dolphins, any of the teams in the 7th seed. Because honestly, none of them deserve it. Let's be fair. Except, you can say the Broncos kind of deserve it. But none of the 3 in the hunt deserve it. Colts don't deserve it either. We should have, actually won our games. The week 1 against the Packers. Week 1 against the Texans. Week 2 against the Packers. The other Texans game, I forgot which week that was. Vikings game was close. You gotta win that Broncos game. So much disappointing from the Colts team this season. And we just don't deserve to be in. And we're lucky that we even have the chance to be in because our schedule is easy as hell. But on to the main event. Broncos-Bengals. What a game. Like I said, Zach Taylor, he needs to be fired. That was the worst management I've ever seen. And Joe Burrow, like he always does, puts the whole entire team on his back, throws 39 for 49 for 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think that Lamar Jackson deserves the MVP. He's been playing lights out the whole season. He deserves MVP this season way more than he deserved it last season. Josh Allen, there is there too. But if the Bengals had a defense, Joe Burrow would be a front runner. He would be minus 1,000. Joe Burrow has had the season of his life, and since their defense is so bad, unfortunately, it's just going to go to waste without... They probably won't even make the playoffs. Because their playoff push is even harder than ours. They have to hope for the Bengals to lose. They then have to hope for us to lose, which, we play 2 absolute cupcakes. They have to win against the Steelers, and then I'm not sure if they need the Dolphins to lose one too. I mean, you'd guess they would. But, the win against the Broncos is huge just in case. But the Bengals need way more help than we do. All we need, and I'll get into this more later, is a Broncos loss, us to win our 2 games, and one of either the Dolphins winning out or the Bengals winning out, and we're in. I'll get into more of that later, but it's definitely harder for the Bengals to get in, which is unfortunate. But you gotta win the easy games. You gotta win against the Patriots. You gotta win at least once against the Ravens. I'm pretty sure they lost. In fact, let's go on a look. That Steelers game was also really embarrassing. You gotta win against the Commanders. You got to win that game against the Ravens. You got to win against you definitely got to win against the Chargers, obviously. I mean, it's been a very disappointing season for the Bengals as well. And if you want it in, you gotta win. Same for us too. If we want it in, the easy way, we had to win our easy games, and we just didn't do that. Didn't do it against the Packers. Didn't do it against the Texans. Didn't do it against the Broncos. Although you can argue that the Texans and the Broncos games are harder, but I digress. But more about this game. It went to overtime, and it got really scary there at the end. Because this dude, Cade York, missed a 33-yard kick to win the game. They gave it back to the Broncos, and the Broncos only needed to tie. They didn't need to win the game. They only needed the tie. So, luckily, the Broncos didn't get the first down. And the Bengals went down and scored a touchdown. Because obviously, I'm not going to trust Cade York again when he kicks a 33-yarder and doinks it off the crossbar. But back to Zach Taylor, who I'm going to get on. I'm going to go through all of his mistakes. Let's see. 1. Went for it on 4th down instead of kicking a field goal. 2. Doing the exact same thing. And having horrible play calling when you're at the 1-yard line and you don't score a touchdown in 4 plays. 3. Throwing 3 times when you just need 1 first down to drain all the Broncos' timeouts. 4. I was about to say, unfortunately, Chase Brown did get injured. The Broncos were going to use their final timeout, but, with Chase Brown getting injured and staying on the field, the Bengals had to waste one of their timeouts, and Broncos couldn't use theirs. Well, they wouldn't want to. And that kept them a timeout. But on the same note, which is number 4, he scores way too fast. He gets in, Joe Burrow runs it in with 1:30 left in the timeout, literally any more time off that clock, and the game's over. And then 5. Is there a 5? And it was just a stupid game all around. I think I'm missing a 5, let's be honest. And there were other dumb plays, too, from the defense. Well, first off, the O-line, guess what? Guess how many sacks they allowed? Discussions. Yo, I can join discussions. Let me sign in right now. I'm joking. Let's see how many sacks they got. 7. The Bengals O-line allowed 7 sacks on Joe Burrow. And some of them were Joe Burrow's fault, and some of them weren't. But obviously, with the O-line that bad, it's likely that you're not going to win games. We've seen that with Caleb Williams. The dude's been sacked like 67 times. So you need an O-line. 100%. And this has been a problem the entirety of Joe Burrow's career. He's never had an O-line. And I'm not trying to get into, woe is me, Joe Burrow. He needs more help. I'm just stating the facts here. The guy just keeps getting sacked every single year. And the Broncos' D-line is one of the best in the league. I understand that. But you need to perform better. At the end of the half, there, with 8 seconds left, or like 12, on 4th and 1, not Joe Burrow, what's his name? Bo Nix throws a prayer ball into double coverage, and I know it's as Mims. I don't want to mess up his first name. Marvin Mims comes down with the ball. Now, there's a little if there. If you didn't want to call that a catch, that could have went both ways. But the defense needs to do better there. Marvin Mims, he had a good day. 1 of 3 for 2-yard touchdowns. Sutton also had a touchdown. That was a really good throw by Bo Nix, who, honestly, I respect Bo Nix. He had a great game. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year because Jaden Daniels is just better. But Bo Nix, 24 for 31, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. That pick should have ended the game, but again, Zach Taylor wanted to be stupid and not drain the clock. So, great job from Bo Nix. You could definitely tell he wanted to win that game there. It just wasn't enough for him. Their kicker, Will Lutz, did not miss a kick. He's 1 for 1. He got 6 points. And, back to the Bengals. I already mentioned Joe Burrow's stats, 39-49, 4-1-12, and 3 touchdowns. Joe Burrow also had a QB sneak rushing touchdown, which, again, if you take a knee 2 times there, you leave him with 50 seconds left, and the rookie quarterback has to go down and kick a field goal. And it already went into overtime, so honestly, I would have rather tried that. But Joe Burrow does get another one on the ground for 4 total touchdowns on the day. Great job from Burrow. T. Higgins with a masterclass day. He had all 3 of Burrow's receiving touchdowns, and along with that, 11 receptions with 131 yards. They need to pay him. They need to pay Chase. We know that. They're probably not going to do it, unfortunately. But what a game from T. Higgins. What a game. Pratt came down with the interception against Bo Nix. And again, Cade York, he missed a kick, which is embarrassing, especially in the clutch. You're the backup kicker. You need to audition for more jobs, and you can't do that. That's not good. But 1 for 2, 6 points. He should have kicked way more, but Zach Taylor's stupid. And luckily, at the end of the day, it did not matter. Now, just like the Chargers, the Bengals outplayed them on every metric. No, the Broncos had 8 more rushing yards. The rushing attack was getting shut down by the Broncos D-line, who, again, is really good. So, respect to them. But in terms of total yards, passing yards, and yard per play, the Bengals got it. Along with first downs, 34-19. And the Broncos need to do better on third down. They were 4-12, while the Bengals were 7-13. While on 4th down, the Bengals went for 3 and only got 1. Which, again, not something when you do, especially when you can kick the dang field goals. While the Broncos only went for 1 4th down, that was at the end of the game when they had to. They couldn't run it either. Bo Nix throws it up, gets a touchdown. So, great job for Bo Nix. 84 total plays to their 60. Again, Bengals 7 sacks. You can't have that. The Bengals did get 2 sacks on them, and they both lost 1. And the Broncos didn't have the ball a lot. So, but overall, unfortunate that the Chargers did not win. But we take these. We will 100% take these. Now, going to the Colts. It probably says this here. Anthony Richardson ruled out for the Giants game. It's unfortunate. Flacco is playing. Again, I don't know why they were saying back and foot. I mean, they should have just been mentioning that he had back spasms, and it would have made more sense. And everyone's dogging on him again. We got Joe Flacco in, and if Joe Flacco plays good, we're screwed. I hope he does not play good at this point, because I want what's best for Richardson. I still have hope in him, and if Flacco plays good, everyone's going to be calling for him to take his job again, because they have short attention spans. They have short memory. They don't forget that Joe Flacco had like 5 turnovers against the Bills. Yeah, it was the Bills. But 76% for the Colts. Again, slim playoff hopes for the Colts, but it's not impossible. Let me go over it again now in more detail. The Colts need to win. They need to win out. They need to beat the Giants, and they need to beat the Jaguars. Giants are 2-13. They had the first overall pick. If the Giants win, fire everyone. Legitimately fire everyone on the dang team. Because at that point, what's the point? When you can't even beat the 2-13 Giants looking for the first overall pick so they can draft Shedeur Sanders. You got to fire everyone. And the same thing goes with Week 18 against Jaguars, especially at home. If it was at Duval, I'd understand if you lose because they literally own us at Duval. But if you lose this game at home against the Jaguars to end the season, fire everyone. I don't care. Everyone needs to be fired if you lose this game against the Jaguars. You should have already beat the Jaguars early in the season. I understand it because they own you in Duval. But if you lose at home to the Jaguars to end the season and everything else goes right, you fire everyone. Everyone needs to go. Especially with them 3-12 right now, I think. Yeah, they're 3-12 right now. They need a higher draft pick, and they don't even have Trevor Lawrence. They have Mac Jones. If Mac Jones comes in and dices up the Colts defense, and we lose, fire everyone. That's consensus. Okay, so that's step one. That's the most obvious thing. Colts need to win out. Next most important thing. Where did they go? The Broncos. The Broncos need to lose against the Chiefs. Here's the problem with this. The Chiefs are 15-1. They're the best team in the league again. They're probably going to win the Super Bowl again for the third time in a row. They already have the first overall pick. They likely will not play Patrick Mahomes and friends. And hopefully the Chiefs' devil magic, the Chiefs' Satan magic allows them to win this game. But if not, the Colts are eliminated if the Broncos win. The Colts would have been eliminated if the Broncos win today, and the Colts will be eliminated if they win next week. If we had won the game against the Broncos, then that's a whole different situation. We win both of our games and we're in. But, we suck. We can't do anything right. And, another thing, Texans are not playing good either. We would have won the division if we beat the Broncos, or we beat the Texans once, or we beat the Packers, or we beat the Jaguars at Duval, or we beat the Vikings. Again, stupid mistakes have kept us from winning the division again, and they're likely going to keep us out from winning, going to the playoffs at least, again. But that's step two. The Broncos need to lose against the Chiefs, who, again, will likely have Carson Wentz. And we remember back in 2021 where we're 9-7. We lose to some team. Oh, we're 9-6, I guess. We lose to a team. I forgot which team that was. I don't feel like looking for it. And then 9-7. You need to win that game. In Duval, put up 11 points. That was Carson Wentz. And our season relies on him again. So that's amazing. Or at least it likely will. Maybe the Chiefs have bad blood and they sacrifice themselves. Maybe Patrick Mahomes gets injured somehow. That would be unfortunate for the Chiefs, but maybe they sacrifice it for us to get in. And of course, if the Colts get in, we're going to go down and win the Super Bowl. That's obvious. Okay, let me go. Now, here's step three. Step three has two options to it. Step three, option one. The Bengals need to win their final game against the Steelers. As you know, the Broncos have the tiebreaker over the Colts. Obviously. So, if the Bengals win against the Steelers, it's a three-way tie. Colts have basically every tiebreaker in the book, other than, head-to-head. Colts have AFC record. Colts have point differential. They have basically everything they need. So, and the Steelers, they were 10-3. They're now 10-6. They're on a downward spiral like they always are, because when Mike Tomlin gets to 9 wins, he just gives up on the season. So the Steelers, they might also rest their starters. Hear me out. They're already in the playoffs, and they're likely not going to lose seeding. They're likely not going to care about seeding. So the Steelers may rest their starters. So that would be good. But if not, we saw the last game. It was close. Sure, it was an offensive shootout, but it was close. And if the Bengals win this, the Broncos will lose the game, and we win out. We make the playoffs. Now, here's step three, option two. And this involves, where are they at? This involves the Miami Dolphins. Miami is at 7-8 right now. If they win out, it's a 3-way tie, just like with the Bengals scenario. And again, we have all the tiebreakers. We will go to the playoffs if the Dolphins win out. Here's the problem with this route. And there's both downsides and upsides with this route. The Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa is probably not going to play against the Browns. He's injured somehow. I don't know when he was injured. I don't know how he was injured. But Tua will likely not play tomorrow against the Browns. Here's the good news. The Browns are terrible. The Browns are 3-12. They are also gunning for a high draft pick. So if the Browns win this game, I'd fire everyone for the Dolphins. Their head coach, he needs to be gone too. Even though I do like the Dolphins head coach, he needs to be fired too. Because let's be honest, that's completely disappointing, losing to the Browns. And then they also need to win their Week 18 game, who they play the Jets. And the Jets are not a good team, but Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't care about any of this draft stuff. They're going to go out full strength. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and the crew, and the Dolphins could likely win that game, especially with their backup quarterback. So I think it's more safe to say that the Bengals are a likely option, but in terms of a 4-way tie, if the Dolphins also win out, we still have all the tiebreakers. We still go to the playoffs. So those are the scenarios. Unlikely? Yes. Well, maybe not that unlikely anymore. But unlikely? Yes. Possible? Also yes. So, anyway, that's the video. Little late, but, I feel like I had to make it. This game is on, too. You'll know who won by the time you watch it, probably, but I want the Cardinals to win. So, anyway, that's going to be the video. We gotta hope. We gotta pray. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, honestly, because tomorrow's our game. And trust me, if we lose to the Giants, I am going to be livid. But anyway, that's the video. See you guys later. Peace.